Hi everyone! Thank you everybody on the advisory board for tuning into this video. Sorry that we didn't actually put together a virtual Zoom for you, but after talking through it with the board and talking through it with staff, we didn't really want you to have to spend your evening just listening to us talk. So what I do instead is report live here from our cool new wine cellar, aka Bryn's office with the backdrop. To talk a little bit about what we've done over the last year, and then to also actually talk a little bit about what we plan on doing for the year to come. So, as you know, this year has been one of the crazier ones I think any of us have experienced. Nonprofits are having a lot of trouble. For-profit businesses are going through some rocky times as well. And of course, we all know when things started to shut down in March and April, there was a mild panic, wondering where we would be able to go next as an organization. The great news is, in huge part to Bryn's efforts and Chris Hallett's efforts and the efforts of the rest of the board to try and remain financially solvent and plan for the future, we actually do have a fairly rosy outlook for the year to come. But part of that really sort of good news outlook for us is because of some of the things that we did this year. So I just want to review some of the things that have happened this year, kind of give you an overview and sort of a reminder. We'll brush you up. The first was the dinner and auction. So as many of you know, this happened literally 2 weeks after the shutdown occurred, and I think that we benefited a lot from the fact that we had procured a lot of items for what was going to be our dinner and auction in person, and we decided to go live on Facebook. We were one of the first organizations to do it, as many of you know. Now it actually seems to be a part of many charities' rotation. But this was one of the first, and we were all really nervous. I think I anticipated $5,000 of revenue coming in, and we ended up at a number that was slightly higher than that, $78,091. Incredible effort by everybody. I want to thank lots of folks on the advisory board for bidding and buying things. It was your support and the support of our donors that really brought that incredible number to us. Directly after that, we decided to continue our run for Rowan, only to do it virtually. This was interesting. I mean, we had about 150 people actually sign up to participate. Some of the photos were really lovely, kind of inspiring. That particular run made $2,556. Now that's way less than what we usually see from that run. And of course, when we have an opportunity to open everything back up, hopefully next year in June or July, that number will be back up to where we usually like. We have 700 folks sometimes participate in that run, so we'd love to see that come back up to that. One of the best things we did this year, and I think a lot of you agree, is the golf tournament. The golf tournament made $26,967. It was by far our best golf tournament we've ever put together. We want to thank Bill Smead for his generous donation to us, but we want to thank everybody on the advisory board for being whole sponsors, for participating. It was such great energy. It was so lovely to kind of see everybody out there and being a part of it. And we were in the smoke and the COVID restrictions. It was pretty incredible. I did send out a survey to folks, so if you have an opportunity, fill out that survey about the golf tournament, because we might make some changes. We might keep some of the things we did this year. We might keep it for next year. So if you have an opportunity, I'll actually send it in with this email so you can answer that. A couple of other little things that we did this year. We actually did start our podcast. We have 150 subscribers in our first year, which is actually pretty awesome. We have had a lot of really great guests. One of the things we noticed was that people respond, number one, to our guests, and number two, to our more positive content. So we started to craft more of our content to be positive, to be uplifting, to try and be inspirational. Some of our guests have lived up to that. They are really amazing. Our last guest this last Tuesday was none other than Minro Johnson, Bryn's younger daughter. So if you have an opportunity, hop on the podcast and listen to the most adorable guest we've had to date. The other thing we started this year as a part of our emotional support programming are the care packages. So we have more than 40 sent out now. These are packages that contain a bunch of really neat stuff for our families to be able to try and work through the grieving process. It has a daily devotional, a candle holder with their initials, the initials of their angel etched in there. They also get a nice picture frame personalized with the angel's name on it. We have pendants that we received from Panowitz Jewelers. Just thank you a ton to Panowitz Jewelers. They gave it to us at cost. And a few other things thrown in there, really to remind the families that we will not forget their angels. So those are also things we've done. We're going to continue that project as well. Looking into the future, the immediate future, next week, the reason why I am here in the wine cellar with a bottle of unopened wine, don't worry, I'm not drinking at like 10 o'clock in the morning. The reason why I am sitting here talking in front of this backdrop is because next week is wine night. November 7th at 6 p.m. on Facebook. We'd love to see you hop on, do some bidding. We got some super fun stuff. And this is the only night that you can receive bottles just like this one. Specially labeled, Raised for Rowan branded wine bottles. So this is the only time you get that. We cannot sell it outside of that because it requires a distributor's license or a special occasions license. So this is it. November 7th is your opportunity to hop on and buy as many as you want, and we can even ship them. So that's pretty cool too. During the month of November, we are prepping as well for our second annual Buy a Book for an Angel Sibling promotion. You may have seen that come out in one of the newsletters we sent, but this was a super successful promotion last year, so we're going to do it again this year, and it will be, I think, pretty fun. We also have our long-term plans. We are actually developing a grief relief webpage. This is the final leg of sort of our phase one of emotional support content. What this actually is a website. We already have something similar to this, although it really just has hyperlinks on it. What we're hoping to do is create a database of grief therapists, spiritual groups like churches and grief support groups at different faith-based organizations, and then of course folks who are willing to sit down with other angel families in a more informal way. We're going to put together all this on a site so someone can come if they're feeling like they need to find a resource and they don't know where to look. They'll be able to go to the site. They'll be able to use search criteria like spiritual assistance, and it'll bring up all the different faith-based organizations who have allowed us to put their information on the website. That's going to be developed in the next 6 months, so we'll roll that out at some point next year. That requires a little bit of logistical work, but we're just starting that process now. So we're excited about that, and that, like I said, will be the sort of final piece to our first emotional support puzzle. As I talk about next year, one of the things that I'm reminded of is that on November 12th, the staff and executive board will be having a retreat where we'll talk about our personal goals, short-term for the organization, and then long-term visions for the organization as well. So I would like to invite you, everybody who's on the advisory board, to email me, reach out to me. I'll be reaching out to you to maybe getting a chance to sit down with you one-on-one, because we're not going to be able to do it all together in a large setting. So where we can kind of talk about some goals that you might want to see the organization embrace and try and pursue. So all of that is happening here in the near and long-term future. I want to thank everybody for sticking by us through these times. This is not the way I like to interact with our donors and our supporters and our board members. But we will one day all be able to be together. I promise you that. We will all be together at some point, and the instant that we have the opportunity to set a date for an in-person advisory board meeting, we will do so. I will continue to keep in touch with everybody, sending emails, making sure that we check in. I just really want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank you for your support during probably the craziest time I've ever experienced in my professional career. So thanks again, and have a great rest of your weekend, and have a safe and happy Halloween.